Either help you decide to commit suicide or not. So
will you tell us which reaction will result in which action?
Well, someone's going to die really soon.
You missed it.
He's a pseudo-clairvoyant like somebody I used to know.
Just somebody that I used to know.
There's art.
It's iconic.
All right, so as you all know, I gotta get used to saying was, because I probably am not a Latin king. From 1997 through 2009, that's what I did. I functioned as the spokesperson, as an ambassador, as
Sorry. Go down.
There's always one.
Won't go up.
Tell the president he can't text you.
there's, depending who you talk to, I was either third or fourth in line for to take over the organization. The process for me between church and out on the streets was quite similar. We have the same rituals within the gang as we do with the church. Same do, don'ts, Constitution, laws, bylaws, a whole bit. But as I would say around 2006, 2007, I started to notice that there was something else going on. Everything I tried to do was just being disassembled by somebody else, and it was in the unknown. So in 2006, I decided to go to Mexico. In Mexico, I met with some people to get an understanding of what it is that was going on, and I saw a lot of things I cared not to, but what I realized was, this was born out of a congressional hearing where the FBI director was talking about relationships between street gangs and cartels. And so the second name that he said were Latin Kings. And that really fell out of my chair because what he was proposing was the arrest, the incarceration of everybody that was associated to the cartels. With or without reason, there's the assumption that if you are a member of this organization, you are participating in this drug cartel and you should be incarcerated for, you didn't give a reason. It was just because, So as I made phone calls and I traveled the country, I started to find out that there was a specific line going from Mexico to Killeen, Texas to Chicago that I wasn't aware of. And so, I made my trip to Mexico, spoke to some people, got a full understanding of what was going on. And the thing is that in Mexico, there was just, I only spoke to one side of them, and it was over here. And these guys over here are the ones that are doing this in terms of drug trafficking. And so the guys in this town, and I'm glad you're getting it, I videotape somebody kills me, y'all know why. The guys in this town reached out to me and said, look man, we're getting hassled, being bullied into, which was funny when he said bullied because I was like, come on, wrong gang members. But into holding large amounts of drugs. And so I needed to make sure that it wasn't these people here because I have someone here on the other side of the border that I trust wholeheartedly, and I just needed that physical clarification. Once I understood that it wasn't coming from here, I knew it was coming from here, from these guys over here. So what was going on was there's these two assholes coming down from Chicago down to Texas, and one of them was probably about this tall, and confronted a whole group of Latin Kings, about 30 guys, and threatened them that if they didn't do this, this, and that they would be violated, we would send people down from Chicago, the whole,
Wow.
whatever you can expect from a criminal group of people. endless threats of, I'll kill your family, I'll find your mother, and all that other shit. So, the guy that told me that, I slapped the shit out of him. Because that was my natural reaction. I couldn't, I'm like, you let two guys that you didn't know come and tell you you had to do this. Yeah.
Don't shit.
Okay. Now that we got this clear, you don't have to do it. And what ended up happening was that they decided that they would talk about it first. And after like 3 or 4 trips, the guy from here was a truck driver, so he came through Chicago a lot. And so by the 3rd or 4th time that we met, which was within a month and a half of time, he said, "Are you sure we don't have to?" And I said, "You don't have to, man." And I brought out our Constitution and our rules and regulations. I'm like, point out here where it says that you have to do what these two guys are telling you to do. He read it and he didn't find it. What he did find was my ability of an authority figure to tell him not to do it and to follow it. So he did. And within 2 to 3 months, the price of cocaine in Chicago rose quickly. Because now, rather than having a constant flow of shipment, somebody from Chicago had to come down and be like, "Why haven't you guys dropped off? There's a middle town in here that I won't say. Why haven't you guys dropped it off there?" Like, "Oh, because we were told we didn't have to. Come get your shit." Fight broke out, whatever, somebody got stabbed. They felt that they needed to drop off their shit. So they did. And then they call me and say, "This happened." And I said, "Okay. Next time this guy comes down and he says, if he starts off with, 'You have to,' and I'm telling you, beat the shit out of him. Send him back to Chicago. Arm broken, whatever you want. Are you sure?" I said, "Absolutely." And sure enough, guy goes down, and they said that the conversation went that he just walked in and said, "Oh, you niggas got it." And that was as far as he got. They broke both of his arms and his nose. Sent him back to Chicago. Wow. So that started a huge tidal wave, because they started to realize that they didn't have the control that they thought that they had. A lot like the fine families in New York, the outfit in Chicago, they have laws in where they don't deal drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Now their associates can do it, and they can benefit from it, but the mob, we won't ever touch the drugs. And so what I found out in all of this was that there was 3 lines of leadership within the Lion Kings. I was one of them, but I started to become more prominent over the other 2. So I was in one track. There was the traditional track of, the old man and this old man, but and then the criminal element in terms of the drug dealing and all that sort of stuff. That track I was completely unaware of, as in how their operation was really, really going. To the point that they really were the dominant group, just very shadowy. Anyway, the problem with all of this is that in your eyes you'll see it as gang members trafficking drugs, a bunch of drug dealers. But the problem is that it goes a lot deeper than that. A lot deeper than that. If you think about, I'll start giving you hypotheticals because I can't go to prison. If you think about the key of cocaine going for 32,000 times that by 100, that's $3 1.2 million times it by 2, that's $6.4 million roughly, right? Every month. $6.4 million making that, right? So,
That wholesale or street?
well, that's what it ends up being given to, let's say I'm the drug dealer, that's what I'm paying for it.
Oh, okay.
Because wholesale, you have to go to the source for it,
Right.
which ends up being, I think a key of cocaine at its source is about $800, so it's ridiculous,
Jesus,
the markup. But you're looking at $6.4 million.
it's almost as much as pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, it is. You're right, Mr. Dirks. So tell me, who benefits from 6.4 million every month? Take a wild guess.
Not the guy who's wholesaling it for 800.
Huh?
It's not the guy who's wholesaling it for 800.
Who benefits from it?
The guy in the third part.
The United States government.
U.S. government.
What? Okay.
So it's estimated that between 60 to 70% of the real estate profits
Okay.
in the city of Chicago have been funded by drugs and from the outfit, from the mafia of Chicago. So we're looking at whatever new building, Trump Tower, that's in Chicago, Boeing building, you know, all these new buildings that have come up have been funded through drugs. So in Chicago you have Walsh Construction, right? Walsh Construction gets a contract from the city, right? City says, I need you to build the Trump Tower for us, you know, but with these conditions, right? And they have all these little conditions. One of them is minority-owned businesses, either non-white or women-owned, right? So Walsh says, I will be the contractor, I'll subcontract to all these other people, right? Problem is that the city of Chicago is union. Now I'm for unions, but I'm anti-union as well, for a lot of other reasons. So the city says, Walsh, and we know you employ union, make sure everybody that you subcontract are union as well. So you get, it's Laborers Union 1, I think, in Chicago. They're the ones that are mob connected 100% from the top to the bottom, right? So Walsh will look at Laborers Union 1 and say, who's out there? Well, what do you need done? Concrete. Great. We got this Mexican on the south side, he can do that. Perfect. All right. Let him know that the cubic foot for concrete has to be, what was it? I want to say 175 a cubic foot. Because they have to estimate what they're going to charge the city, but as well the cut to the outfit. They have to estimate it, you know. Now, the relationship between the outfit and Walsh Construction is that the owner of Walsh had a son that wanted to get married with a niece of Mayor Daley back in the 1980s. Well, he wasn't married back then, but in the 1980s. And so the outfit said, this is a perfect relationship because, you know, no one's going to question a damn thing. Plus, we have your niece, we have your son, we'll kill them both. Right? Sure, no problem. Let them get married. So, Walsh Construction starts subcontracting. Now, we need sewer done. So, there's this Puerto Rican guy that we have to tell him that he has to charge the city $130 per linear foot to lay down pipe and whatever, you know. And this is all starts coming down to a percentage, right? Now, the people that these people employ have to be union. The concrete workers, the drivers makes $28 an hour. The guy that actually grabs the hose and starts laying down the concrete is $32 an hour. Everybody in the sewer company makes, I want to say $68,000 a year, right? Now, the way they cover up their money is that no overtime is paid.
You know what?
No overtime is paid out. to the employee, right? So since nothing gets paid out to the employee, that overtime money is the percentage that they're taking out to give their cut back to Walsh, or Walsh gives it back to the outfit through a variety of business deals and whatever. So you have all these people that are working 12 hours a day, and they're only getting paid a regular hourly shift for those 12 hours, right? And Saturdays it's time and a half, so that half, all of it goes to the outfit. On Sundays it's double time, and that's a full hourly wage going to the outfit, right? So as you're driving down the expressway in Chicago, you're like, oh great, wow, these guys are working on Saturday, Sunday, they're dedicated. Bullshit. Somebody needs their time, you know, and they try not to do that because the expenses go up, but it happens more and more often. So anyway, so that happens. In the meantime, we're all going, wow, the Trump Tower looks so great. We're eating at the restaurant there. We know somebody that lives there. Bishop
America's favorite midget.
Carlton Pearson lived in the Trump Tower, you know, and this is great. At the bottom of Trump Tower, there was a homeless guy that lived there, right, literally at the exit of the parking garage that led out under Lower Wacker Drive. And I stopped to talk to him one day, and he goes, I've been here for years in this very same spot. And he goes, it's not my fault they brought the driveway in front of my house. Because you have to stop when you get there because you're coming out into the street. And he's standing there, and people complained about him being there, but he was just like, this is where I live, it's not my fault, right? So it was funny. So, you know, a lot of people in the building would give him money. I mean, it was almost like paying a toll. Came to the top, roll the window down, here you go, Fred, you know, and boom, we were gone. So, and believe me, this all connects back to us in terms of what, you know, why we call ourselves priests or pastors. Anyway, so this is all nothing new to you guys. Because it's always been expected that there's some sort of corruption and somebody's washing hands with somebody else, right? The outfit have made men that used to run in the hundreds in Chicago, you know, not so much anymore. They all look like Jerry. And
Well,
Irish mob, is always.
right. They're all older guys, they want nothing to do with nothing, right? Now, the main men always had associates. I'll just call them asses. Or ass. And those associates then had crews. I was having the same conversation last night with my friend and brought out some more disturbing stuff, which didn't help me sleep last night. The problem is that since the made men have dwindled, there's been an increase of asses out there. Which then means an increase of crews, and then now the crews have crews. And now you have this whole group of people in the thousands that really don't need to respond to the outfit other than money. That's it. They don't care. The main men don't give a shit. They just want to make sure that they get their envelope and it's over. This is the problem here. They've developed this structure. The problem more here is that because they have a very distant connection to the outfit, they have no other loyalties with anybody else. So, the outfit traditionally has given both ammunition and drugs to the black street gangs, right? The Mexican cartels supply certain, well, the other side of street gangs. There's two families in Chicago, but there's two hierarchies in Chicago, then there's families below that, but the Mexican cartels have supplied what is my side of the world. And the outfit and the Mexican cartels don't see eye to eye, because the outfit wants to charge everybody coming into the Chicago city limits. And the cartel's like, fuck you. So, you know, like, I really don't need to go through Melrose Park. I can go to the south side of Chicago, I could go to Aurora, whatever, and boom, I'm where I need to be at. I really don't need you. And it's hard to tell who's who, so, you know, it's not like a big semi-truck that says, you know, the golf cartel, you can pull them over and tax them, right? So a lot of people, unfortunately, get harassed, you know, and how do they get harassed? How else do you get harassed on the expressway or on driving down the street?
Cops.
The police. So here's the thing. If you're the community member, you're the community. You depend on the police to provide, to serve, and to protect, right? The police responds to the politician, right? The politician is elected by the community. The politician responds to the mayor of the city, right? The mayor responds to corporations and to the state, because that's just the reality, right? And I include the governor there because, well, in Chicago, the mayor never has ever responded to the governor. It's always been like, fuck you, I got more power than you do. But and then these corporations need help. So these corporations depend on money coming from the outfit. Because the outfit tells both the mayor, the politician, and the police how to affect the community. Right? So when you kind of look at this, you know, everything should lead down this way to the community, and it doesn't. In this process, where's the media?
They're owned by the corporation.
They're owned by the corporation. Bishop, I think you've been paying too much attention to that. The media is owned by the corporations. Well, it's kind of mutual, actually, right? That relationship. But the outfit also has people in the media, which is funny when you catch someone that is. Oh, it's just that you don't understand. Yes, I do. So when you have this, the church, that's my horrible attempt of a prophecy, the church is off to the side. Because the church wants a good mayor, right? Because the mayor is going to provide city services to the people, blah, blah, blah. The church hardly ever deals with the governor or the state. It's very, you know, it's really it's from here on down, right? If you got a hold of the mayor, then the mayor's going to introduce you to the governor and the state and all that other bullshit. The church wholeheartedly supports the police department without fail, which is fine. I'm not going to stand here and say that I hate the police, because I don't. I hate their function that's been described to them verbally as opposed to what they're actually legally supposed to do. Because legally what they're supposed to do and verbally what they're told to enforce is day and night. Right? Oh, I'm sorry, that's the politician. Police. The politician needs the church. They'll show up on Sunday and, well, I believe in Jesus the same way you do. Come out and vote tomorrow. But how does the church react to the community? It's conflicted. Because if the police are calling some of the community members niggers and spits and wetbacks and whatever, the church is kind of like, I can't really say that I hate the police because I really shouldn't hate anybody. But they're right, there's a lot of people doing bad things out there. Which is just another way of calling someone a nigger at the end of the day. Right? So here's the conflict. Under community, it's not just us, but it's the gangs, the drug dealers, prostitution, homeless folk. Everybody that's a degenerate or on the fringes, however people want to describe them. But what is our role in all of this? Because we're not going to affect all of this. I've tried and almost, I've tried. And I've said this before, but I had a master plan of dealing with this, at least on my side. And part of it was to affect the price of the drugs out of the street. And I was successful for quite some time, to the point that I was pulled to the side by a variety of members of my leadership saying, look, you can deal with the entire world. Spain, Australia, the Philippines, Mexico, Central America, South America, Canada. Well, we got people in Canada too, You can have all of that. Just leave Texas out. And so when I was told that, I was like, you guys have been playing me this entire time. And I'll admit, in '97, it was a little bit of an ego trip to be, I was 22 at the time, and I had every gang leader's phone number. I could meet with any of them at any time I wanted to. I could do whatever I wanted with them, show up in colors that were contrary to their gangs at their homes, and people would get upset and be like, how's this guy walking in black and gold, and we're, opposite of that. I had the Nation of Islam working with me. I had their protection. I was just on a high at the age of 22. And I was a spokesperson for the Lion Kings across the country. So I was just like, this is great. And as time went on, and as this became more clear to me, then I started to realize, they were using me to cover up all the other stuff that they were doing, So there is a guy. There's always a guy, right? There is a guy that owns a company. Let's say it's a sewer company. I want to call him the guy. The guy is a Latin king, a Christian, and he's Puerto Rican, which is significant. I'll tell you why in a second. The guy is close friends with an alderman. Let's put B for Burnett, but let's not say that's what it is. And Alderman Burnett, hypothetically, is really close with the outfit. Right? But this guy is also friends with, I don't know, let's call this guy W for Wallace. And let's hypothetically say that this guy W's father was an alderman for the city of Chicago back in the 80s and was indicted by the federal government for taking bribes from the outfit, hypothetically. And this guy Wallace, let's say, owns a condo that the outfit uses as a safe house, hypothetically in the Gold Coast in Chicago. This guy has a lot of connections. The Latin King connection is significant because let's say his parents were founders of the Latin Kings, all right? He's Christian because, like we were talking about yesterday, to answer all these questions, gang members find Jesus in two situations, and only in two situations. On the pavement after being shot stabbed or beaten or in prison. Okay? And the reason that happens is because our lives are so extreme that we go from one extreme to the other in terms of like, man, fuck you, this and that, oh my God, Jesus, you know, and it's, you know, all of a sudden, and most of them go Pentecostal and Baptist, if anything, but mostly Pentecostal or Bible-based churches, which then are very, like, you know, oh God, it's horrible. And so this guy says he found Jesus in, I want to say 2007. That was that. 2007 was significant because around that time is when someone, let's say W, was talking to him about creating a sewer company that this guy has no fucking idea about. He has no idea, right? 2007, a series of things start to happen. Let's say this guy named K gets physically violated. And this guy K is well known within the organization, very well respected. He's Puerto Rican as well, but very well respected across Black, Puerto Rican, Mexican. Everybody loves him to death, but he's physically and horribly violated. Let's say this guy B happens the same thing at the end of the year of 2007. You know, horribly, I mean, beaten to with hopes that they would kill him. And the sewer company gives birth. Gives birth. It starts. So those three really significant things happen. Because this guy was consolidating their power. Push him out of the way so they got nothing to say. Mostly because those two were my best friends.
Those two what?
Were my best friends.
Okay.
Were.